Hi everyone, David here from daviddumaisaudio.com, and in this video I want to show you guys how you can create your own weapon swing sound effect. So if you're working on a game and you have to create some sort of weapon swing for a sword or for a lance, for a hammer, or any kind of melee weapon, this is going to be the video for you. I'm going to show you guys exactly how you can do that from scratch here. All right, before we jump into our project though, make sure to check the description. I have a free little sound pack of weapon swing sound effects you can use and download royalty free if you want to. All right, so check the link in the description for that. All right, let's get into our project. All right, so for this video, what I'd like to do is actually play through a little redesign that I did here. I'm not going to use the video because I don't know if I can actually use it if I have the copyrights for it. It's basically a clip from Overwatch by the player Reinhardt. So it's just one of his like gameplay videos. Anyways, I just don't want to get some sort of copy strike, but this is the redesign I did for it. So we'll have a listen to it. And then what I'd like to do is go back, show you guys exactly how I created each layer and how I recorded everything and just start from scratch, and we'll do that. All right, so let's have a listen. It's pretty short. And that's basically it. It's just like 3 different swings that I created here, okay? So before we break down the individual layers, what I thought we'd do is actually start from the beginning. I'll show you guys exactly how I created everything from scratch. All right, so the first thing I did is I actually just took out my recorder and I recorded some stuff around my house. So here are some sounds that I recorded. You'll see and you'll hear they're not really that clean, and that's because a lot of these were pretty darn quiet. Okay, so I'm just whipping stuff in front of my microphone. So I took different materials. I had something like a small hockey stick. I had a USB cable for like charging your phone. I had a little plastic tube. Actually, the plastic tube sounded pretty good. Let's see if I can find it. So that's that one. So it gives a pretty tonal sound, which is really nice. So basically, you can use pretty much anything. One of the last things I used was like my shirt. So I just took a shirt and I, again, whipped it in front of the microphone. It sounds like this. Okay, so once I had that, what I did is I just put it into Nuendo like this, chopped it all up so that I just had a whole bunch of sound files here. And then I imported them into RX to edit them. And I'll show you guys what I did in there. All right, so once I was in RX, this is what my sounds would look like. I would have something like this. These are actually already have been edited, but what I would have is a pretty long tail at the end of the sound, and maybe even a larger opening. So what I would do is I would just listen, and what you will hear usually for these types of sound, especially if you don't have like a really high-end microphone and like really soft preamps or whatever, like you're gonna have quite a bit of noise in your sound file, especially like right at the beginning here and at the end. So what I would do is I would just cut a lot of it out and then just do a fade out like this. So now I'm left with just a clean whoosh sound. So it still sounds a bit airy, but it's a lot cleaner. And I would do that for each one of them. So something like this, again. I might cut out some like this part here. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. The idea is just to get it as clean as possible. So I have quite a bit of noise at the beginning, which I don't like, so I might go like that. So you just have to really use your ear and be really attentive. And I found the trick for editing these kinds of whoosh sounds is just to really cut a lot of the beginning and a lot of the tail. So you can try with both, experiment. Don't just do it because I necessarily say to do it. Try with both. It's just for me, for this project, I found it was a lot, I had a lot of cleaner sound with cutting out the front end and the tail of the sound. All right, once I had all my sounds exported back into my folder, I had about 117, something like that, sounds. And then what I did is I just opened up, no surprise here, S layer, okay? And in S layer, I just imported all my sounds here and then started playing. This is actually the wrong one, so I'm gonna open up here. This is the one I had. Here we go. Okay, so now you'll see here, I have a whole bunch of different sound files up to 116. So yeah, so I had 117 in here, and that's basically it. And then I just did my regular randomize and see what I can come up with. And you'll see here, I have 2 plugins that I used. One is OTT. This is just to level out kind of the frequencies and make them a bit louder. And then I have BX Sub. This is a sub synth to bring out the bass. So if I take it off, then put it back in. So So because I'm aiming to recreate a weapon swing from a large weapon, I really need that sub sound, and this is just a nice little plugin that can do exactly that. Okay. So once I would just play through it, and I have sounds that I like. So I like that one. I might come here. I'll go a bit further so I don't actually hear anything, and let's record that. Great. And this is basically what I did. So I would do it again. And you'll see here, one of the things I did is for the pitch, I only brought it up +2 or +3 and then down 24. So I didn't really want to pitch up, because if you pitch up, then you're just getting these clicky sounds because the sounds are already so short. You don't want them to pitch up. You mostly want it to just pitch down. So I could even go down to 0. There you go. That sounds like a pretty cool sound to me. So I'm just going to record that. And it has so much bass and weight to it. It sounds awesome. Okay, so this is what I did. I only printed out like, I don't know, maybe 10 for this video. Like I didn't do too much. I didn't go overboard. Sounds pretty cool too. There, just like that. Okay, and what I would actually do, and what I did is, you'll see I had different frequency layers. So these are pretty stubby, not a lot of like mid or high end information to them, which is okay, because what we can do is actually use some of the original files and fill those in. Okay, so once I have these, now I'm ready to layer them together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to grab all of them and bring them down. And this was kind of my process. So I'll show you a quick, like just what it kind of looked like for me when I was doing it. And then we'll actually go into the sound effects here and actually break those layers down so you guys can see what I did. Okay, so something like that. So let's just hear these two sounds together. Actually, let's hear one at a time so I know what I'm doing. So that is a pretty big weapon swing sound. So I might even try to shorten it a bit so it sounds like it's swinging a bit faster. Let's try that. Good. So it's a bit of faster swing. And let's see if I can layer one of these on top of it. So it sounds good. It sounds a little late. Maybe I want it a bit early. Let's try that. So that sounds good. So that could be like one sound, let's say, or one iteration of a sound. Maybe I'll try something like this, copy paste this, move it over here. Let's try something else here. Right, so they're two different sounds. And what I like to do or try to do whenever I'm designing like weapon swing sounds is I try to take the character of the weapon itself and include it in the sound. So this could be like foley. This could be like if you're having wood, maybe I would do like some wood sweeps. And let me show you how you could do that. All right, so what I actually imported here are some sci-fi sounds. So I put in some glitches and stuff. So this would be like for a sci-fi or futuristic kind of weapon. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to import a couple of sounds that I think would work well in here. And I don't actually know what they're going to sound like just yet, but that's okay. So we're just going to import them in here and see what they sound like. So I'm just going to mute these. And let's start with this one. So that sounds pretty cool. So for a swing, I'm just going to cut off the beginning here and put in a fade in because I don't want it to be have a harsh start. And let's hear it. And then let's put it like this. So that sounds kind of cool. Sounds kind of futuristic. So that's kind of cool. So it can give that kind of mech kind of vibe to it. And what's cool is you can also like scan through the file. So that sounds pretty cool too. Let's try another one. right? So you're getting all these kind of variations of different sounds you can get just from scanning through that file. Okay, so that's one option. Another one could be like this one. Let's hear this one. So that's cool. Again, same idea. Right, so depending on the weapon you're creating and the kind of sound you want, this could be stuff that could work. So you can layer different textures or different sound characteristics that you want that represent the weapon itself. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these and remove this just to show you guys what you can do. Okay, so this is the basic kind of design principle behind creating these weapon sounds. How you can create larger sounds. Of course, if you're creating smaller ones, you just don't need to pitch it down so hard or add so much bass like I was adding when I was using S-Layer. Okay, so what I like to do now is just actually go through these 3 weapon swings that I created here and just break them down so you guys can see what I did, okay? And see how what we just talked about and how I actually put it into use here. So let's listen to it and then we'll break it down. All right, so that is the sound. So let's start with the first one up here. And it actually includes these 3, so I'm going to put these into this top folder. Or at least, all right, here we go. So let's have a listen to just this. So you can hear this kind of like this little charge up. This is kind of to charge up the weapon, and then you have the swing. Okay, so let's start from the top here. And this is how I started my sound design session for this one. Now, the reason you're not hearing it is because I have a sidechain input, so I actually need to play these 2 together. And that's the sound you're getting. So let's hear it. And what I'm using here is transmutator. And by the way, I'll say for weapon sounds like this, what's really fun to do is when you're using like morphing kind of plugins to morph different swing sounds together, so that you get new sounds. And you can do the same thing if you're morphing like an actual weapon swing sound with other textures or other sounds that are not swing sounds. So anyways, here I'm just doing like 2 different swing sounds. And so this is what they sound like if they're just stacked on top of each other. And then with a plugin. Right, so very different. And then what I did here is just add some distortion. And that was it. All right, next layer is down here. Again, nothing crazy about this one. Just did a bit of a cut here because I think it was peeking out a little bit when in the final sound. But that is the sound. So without the EQ, sounds okay on its own, but you can really hear that ooh, like that sound in the in the whoosh that I didn't want, so I cut that out. And next one here. There's just a really bassy layer, and this is just the gain to balance out the sound with the other layers. And here, what do I have? So another whoosh sound. So let's take off all the effects here. So you can hear it sounds very wide, which is why I added recenter. It wasn't completely centered. It was very, I found it was very panning towards the left, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to be centered. And then Blue Cat, just a gain plugin just to balance out the sounds with the other layers. And again here, an EQ. Let's see what I have here just to cut out some of the highs. Okay, and then these down here are the kind of mechanical layers like I had before. And same ideas, same principles here, just cutting in and out. And then I think I did some light processing on them. So if I look here, I just did some pitch shifting that follows the envelope here. So if we play it from the beginning. So it just pitches the sound up basically. So that's all that's doing there. Okay, nothing crazy here. So just some mechanical sounds, some sci-fi sounds, and then blending it and layering it with other weapon sounds. Okay, let's move on to the next sound here. So this one's a lot lower, a lot bassier. So let's hear it. And as you can see here, these have no plugins on them, except for this one has a bit of gain reduction. But apart from that, these are just as is. They're just layered them on top of each other, and they just sounded good to me. So let's hear it. Yeah, so these sound like they're really close layers, and then this one sounds like it's a bit further away and has the tail to the sound. Okay, and then same idea here, just some more sci-fi sounds. That's it. And then this final layer down here, let's listen to it. Final weapon swing. So let's listen to it. So this one has the morph on it. So as you can see here, I'm kind of moving around the morph to get a sound, and it's actually automated. So if I look at my automations right here, you can see it's playing. So it's like moving between different sounds here. So that's what this is doing. This one's blending with this sound here. Okay, so those are those two sounds, and then I just added OTT again to just compress it a bit. Neutron probably to cut out some lows, yep. And then snap heap as a pitch shifter. Good. Okay, let's into the next layer. This is just a sub layer, so I wanted to add a bit more bass frequency to the sound. So this is what this is doing again. Sub synth, really great for a sub, especially for stuff like this. There was a little bit too much, but I didn't want to cut too much, so I cut the bass a little bit, and then here just the gain to balance with the other layers. And last layer is just, I think it's the exact same one as this one. I just copied and pasted it down here just so you kind of have some continuation of sound quality between the different swings here, okay? And that's pretty much it. So these are the three sound effects, sound swings that I created. All right, so I think that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful and valuable. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the links in the description for a free sound pack, royalty-free, that you can use in your projects, okay? And I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.